made. So, firstly, who am I? My name's Johnny Lyle. I've been freelancing now for 5 years, so I've got quite a lot of experience about it. Before that, I ran a design and brand consultancy for 22 years, which I sold 5 years ago, very badly. And so I'm going to give you some of those experiences now. About 5 years. So what did I do before I was freelancing? I ran a brand consultancy. It was quite big. We got to nearly 30 staff. We were in the top, 75 or so in the UK. We had nearly 30 staff. Turned over a couple of £1 million, and we won lots of awards. This is a DBA Gold, which I'm very proud of, for the launch of a theme park with a little attraction. And over here is another one as well, which was a Drum Grand Prix, which you can just about make out. Which was another launch. It was the best marketing campaign in 2009, I think it was. And background again to myself, I'm a marketeer, so I studied marketing at university, did a marketing degree, then I did a marketing postgrad, and I'm a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Marketing now as well. So that basically means I've got well over 20 years senior marketing experience. So I don't tend to use my letters after my name. I'm sure I could if I wanted to. I don't think they're that helpful, but it does actually show that I've been doing it a long time, I think, and I'm hopefully reasonably good at it, and those awards actually prove that I'm pretty good at it, I think. So I did that for a long time, and the reason I moved on to become a freelancer was really the business I was running was all about design and branding, and I wasn't passionate enough about it. I didn't enjoy it enough in the end. I think the bit I loved was what happened once you'd done the branding. Once you'd done the branding and you gave it to the client, and then you had to implement it, and you had to implement it into the website, you had to implement it into the uniforms, into the signage, into the wording, into everything. They were the bits I got really excited about, and those are the bits my business partner didn't get really excited about. So we did a sort of like slow release. I sort of worked my way out of the business for a couple of years, and then by the time I was out, I was ready to go freelance, and I just haven't really regretted it for a single day. It's been great. I'll tell you a bit more about that in a sec. What prompted the change? Why did I go freelance? If I'm honest, it was a few things. I said a little bit about it before. I wasn't passionate enough about the work. I didn't think. I really wasn't. I wasn't enjoying it as much as I had. I've been doing it a long time, 20 plus years. But also, I made myself ill. I was working too hard. I was doing 70 plus hours a week. I was working all weekend. I wasn't getting any rest. So I was just making myself really ill. I went in to get my eyes tested, and the optician sent me to hospital, and I got kept in hospital because it looked like I'd had a stroke. So it wasn't very good. So I went back in on the Monday, saw my other two partners and said I've got to go part-time. I went part-time then, literally straight away, and I found very quickly that it was easy to pick up work. So I ended up doing half-time at the brand consultancy and the other half of the time doing my own things, and I was very quickly earning more doing the freelancing stuff than I was doing the consultancy, business brand consultancy stuff. So I thought, why am I killing myself here for not so much and earning more over here and enjoying it anyway? So then I decided I'd leave, and I left, and then the other two bought me out. So it was, in theory it was good, but it didn't work out that well. That's what prompted the change really. I needed to move because I was bored, I wasn't passionate enough, and I found just by testing the water that it was good. I was good to go, so I went. But I really didn't take much of a risk because I was already earning as a freelancer by the time I'd gone. I was lucky, I think. To be honest, I found it fantastic. I've loved it. I've really enjoyed being on my own. And there's lots of reasons. One of the main reasons was that when you've got 30 staff, you have to work incredibly hard to pay all of them first. And then if there's enough left over at the end of the month, then you pay yourself. If there's a lot left at the end of the year, the good thing about running a big company is you pay yourself a decent bonus. But we were in quite tough business times then as well. There's just been an election, and we lost lots of work. We lost all the work we did for government departments. So that was quite tough, really. But mainly I found it pretty easy to find new work. The work, I think the thing I've learned a lot of is the work I've found more enjoyable is the work where I get to do more with the client, where I get really under the skin of the business, where I get to do more with them. So 4 and 5 days a month, where actually what happens is I go in and I do the work myself, rather than, I thought I was going to just do strategy, but what actually happened is I've gone in and not done the strategy, I've gone in and done the work. So it's probably operating at a lower level than someone like me would normally do, because I've done so many strategies over the years. I found I really enjoyed it, actually getting in, getting grunty, writing the stuff down and looking after the social media and doing the email campaigns, building those new business development lists and getting in and getting dirty. I've really enjoyed it. I found it great fun. I've got no regrets. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. So next question. Has it been better for me? Yes. I have a little book here, which is my invoicing book. Can you see that? That is very analog. Every month I write down, I'm not going to show you, every month I write down what I earn. And so far, in 5 years, I think I've been 62 months on my own now. I have, apart from this month where I've not been able to work because I've been injured, I have not had a single month where I have earned less than double what I was earning before. So I guess I've been lucky, but it certainly has shown to me that if you're prepared to work, you get the money. You earn it yourself. I'm not particularly money oriented, but I've loved the work I've been doing. But it's certainly, I'm very hard working. I'm still probably doing 60 hours a week, if I'm honest. But the good thing is, the 60 hours I'm doing, I'm earning all of it. I'm getting paid for all of it. And like I said on one of the other videos, when I got offered a job which I knew was going to take me 2 whole weekends, I took it knowing that I was going to get paid a lot of money for it, and it was going to pay for my entire family's summer holiday just for doing 4 days work. And it was work I wasn't expecting, so I was happy to do it. So yeah, that was good, and it was profitable, and because I did the work myself, I earned all the cash. So financially it's been great. It's been really good, and because I was able to sort of break away slowly, I didn't really take much risk either. So maybe I've been lucky, but that's how it's been for me. So working alone, working from home can be a little dull, I have to be honest, because I do tend to start very early in the morning. I'm quite often at my desk by 6 o'clock, 6:30, because I get all my good work done first thing in the morning. And then most of the time now, or probably 2 or 3 days a week, certainly 2 days a week, I'm on site with clients, because of that thing I said before about I like to work with them 4 or 5 days a month if I can. There's always 1 or 2 days a month where I'm actually in with clients, so I'm actually sitting there in their office, so I'm sort of part of their team, so I'm not working alone, which I have enjoyed. I really like that bit of it. Working from here, it's a compact little office, you can get a hell of a lot done. There's no doubt about it. You can get an enormous amount done just because there's no one to distract you. So I tend to work up here, which you can't see, just out of sight. There's a radio, there's a stereo, there's a valve amplifier, there's some nice speakers. Just out there's a coffee machine, printer, 3 computers, raster mouse. There's all sorts of things going on, so I've got all the tech I need in the building. So because of that, I've just sort of quietly can get on with it, and I've got a lot done. So I don't feel like I'm alone that much. Certainly one or 2 days a week I'm completely alone, but that's because I really need to knuckle down and get a lot done. So I don't mind it. I found it okay. I wouldn't be able to do a whole week at home away, and I find that really boring. I'd have to get out. But there's ways you can do that. You can go and actually just work in a hot desk office or something like that. I quite often, if I was planning on being on my own, I could go and work in. There's a place in the city near where I live where I'm a member, where I can just go to this members lounge and just use it. It's got super fast Wi-Fi. It's lovely, comfortable seats, and I can just set up a desk there. It's only going to cost me the cost of either the bus fare into town or the drive and park in town. So it's pretty good value. So yeah, I found it okay. So as a freelancer, I do 2 different types of work really. I've got all my own things, my online businesses, and then I've got my consultancy work. So the online businesses, I'll give you one in particular that I do because it's just quite a funny one really. It's the world's most boring product. It's a data business, and it sells email and business data. And it's not a big business by any stretch of the imagination, but it was one of my first, and it was one that I just set up just for fun, just to see whether I could do it. What happened, I was waiting to meet a friend in a meeting. I was reading this book, Business Model Canvas Generation, Alexander Osterwalder. It's a really fantastic book, a bit dull in places, but there's some really good ideas in it. So I was waiting to meet my friend for a meeting. He rang me and said, "Oh, Johnny, I'm so sorry, I'm going to be an hour late. We'll meet you in the pub anyway." So I didn't really mind, so I got out my little notebook here. This is the original notebook. I'm not going to show it too detailed. And I drew up a business model canvas for a completely new business. And I was so excited. I had a quick drink with him and then went home and literally started it straight away. And what it was I'd narrowed it down. I wanted a business where I could sell the same thing over and over again, so I didn't need to hold stock. And then what I wanted was to wake up on a Monday morning and find lots of cash in my account. I've never really found lots of cash in my account, but that's another story. But it's worked very well, so it has certainly paid for an awful lot of holidays and a nice car. And that is by just selling data. I've narrowed it down to music, which I didn't know enough about, to selling images, which I knew would be quite a lot of work and a lot of investment, or data. Data's quite easy to break bulk. I buy it in massive great bundles, like 2 million lines of data at a time, and then break it down into small groups. And that was the key difference. It was already pre-prepared for people. They were only interested in, say, London business data or West Midlands business data, or they're interested in buying data to market to architects and the like. So I'd already broken all that. I built this big database and then broke it all down by sector, and it worked really well. So that's that one. I've got a few others. I've got some affiliate businesses. I've got some Amazon stuff. I've got quite a few blogs where I do different things with links all over them and things, but affiliate links and the like. And some I just do for fun. I've got one I just run for fun at the moment. I'm going to cover that elsewhere because it's quite an interesting one, because it's been very, very successful in terms of readership. I just haven't quite worked out how to monetize that one yet. And then the other thing I do is everything I learnt over here on how to build my own stuff, I then transferred into sort of going in and actually consulting with people. And then initially I thought I would, because I was had so much experience in sort of brand consultancy, I thought that's what I'd be doing. I thought that's what people would want to buy, but it just didn't work out like that. So people said, yeah, great, we'll have you as a brand consultant, and then they didn't do the work. So what happened was I started doing the work for them, and then more and more I started doing that work, and I ended up then going in, and that's ended up being the bit I really enjoy, where I go in sort of like 4 or 5 days a month, and I act as their marketing director or marketing manager for 4 or 5 days a month. And because I've got lots of experience, I could do it really quickly, I could do it very effectively, and they don't have to hire someone full time. So I'm describing it as a fractional marketing director. So they're getting a very experienced marketing director who's getting a lot of work done for a fraction of the cost, for about the same price as a cheap marketing manager, or a cheap sort of not even graduate level marketing manager. So it's offering good value, and I found that really easy to get work, to be honest. It's been a very, very simple concept, and it's worked very well. So I sort of like subcontract into them rather than I do that for about 6 or 7 different businesses, sometimes 8, where I might do one day a month, one day every other month or whatever. I'm not enjoying them as much. I enjoy the one where I do more, to be honest. But it's been good, been very good, been very successful in that. You're never going to get rich because you haven't got anything to sell. You might have over here, remember the online business, you might be able to sell. You can't really sell a freelance consultancy, that doesn't work. So that's about lifestyle. That's potentially about a big payout at some point in the future if you're good enough, but I'm not sure. Oops, I've covered that a bit. No, it wasn't. I thought I'd be a brand consultant. I thought that's where the market was. But I did have this idea in the back of my mind about being the fractional marketing director, and that has been really quite successful, to be honest. That's where I've picked up most of my work. But this over here, this probably pays 1/3 of my salary, and this pays 2/3. So, but this is growing, and this gradually, I'm hoping, if I can get the online stuff to start working really well and bring in more affiliate stuff, I'll be able to replace this, and I won't have to do anywhere near as much. I won't have to be out and about, so I'll then just be able to have a different life again. So that would be good. Again, to be honest, all of my work has been by referral. Literally every piece of it. I haven't written a letter since I set up, and that is because there's a reason for it. The reason being that if you're the one reaching out to people, they basically set the price. Whereas if they come to you because they have a problem and someone else said, "Oh yes, Johnny came in and sorted it," then you can pretty much not command exactly what you want, but the negotiation over your price is certainly a hell of a lot easier. Well, I've certainly found it so. I've got some quite nice day rates on some of those, and that has been my rule. So yeah, I've found it relatively easy to do that. Part of it, again, going back to these two sides, I wanted to make sure I wasn't completely overrun on here, so I could still leave myself time to grow this side of it as well, to grow the affiliate and the other bits like that coming through as well, grow the data business and making sure that's successful as well. Because any of these businesses, however small, still take some nurturing. Otherwise, you're crazy to build them and then not bother following them through. But But yeah, it's been all referral. I guess again I'm lucky in that I haven't really had to push very hard. You've only got about 20 days a month to sell. I aim to sell about 12 as a freelance consultant, which is good, and then bring in anything extra on this with the other sort of 8-9 days I have spare over here. So, working 3 days a week with clients and then a couple of days a week on my own stuff, and that's been my balance. So, end of that question. So, I've got a few that I've learned. I'm sorry, I'm just having to read them off here. Now, my first tip is to get a good accountant, which I know is actually quite boring advice. But the way I work has been, I know I'm not great at admin. I don't enjoy admin. So what I've done is I agreed a rate with the accountant, and it's a few £100s a month. And so what I do is every month I gather all my invoices, well, all the bills and things that I've run up, so just receipts and bags of receipts and my mileage charts, put them into a big envelope and I send them to the accountant at the end of each month. All my invoices are on Dropbox, so they can have access to that. If I get invoices in by PDF, then I put them on Dropbox or I print them out and put them in there. I've given them access using xero.com to my bank accounts, so they can see where I'm at with the accounts. I send them my statements from credit cards, business credit cards and things. They do everything, so I don't have to worry about it. The only thing I have to do is send my invoices, and that is it. And it's been worth every penny. They sort out my tax, they sort out my VAT, they sort out everything. I hate that sort of admin, and so, for £200 a month, if I can't earn an extra £200 a month and all the time that's freed up, I should never have gone on my own. And I have, so I've made the best of it. And it was a really, really good decision. I've got very, very good accountants. I'll give you the name if they'll pay me an intro fee. Second piece of advice for a freelancer: don't work with idiots. One advantage about being on your own, really, you get to choose who you want to work with. I made a decision that I didn't want to work with professional services. So I didn't want to work with lawyers, accountants. I like my accountant, but I wouldn't want to work with them. Lawyers, accountants, solicitors, insurance. I didn't want to work in financial services. I didn't want to work in any of those sectors because I find them boring, and I didn't want to have to do it. So I don't have to do it, so I don't do it. So I specifically targeted the themed entertainment sector. I joined the Themed Entertainment Association as a way of getting in and got myself introductions, went to their events, met people, started picking up work there, and it was a good decision. It's a slow burn. It's taken me 2 or 3 years to really get a good name in that industry, but I've got a good name now. I think I'm doing some work for quite a lot of attractions, and the good thing is all the clients I'm dealing with are generally dealing with happy things. People who are going to theme parks and attractions are having a great day out normally, so they're happy. If you're doing financial services, you're dealing with people who've got loans and having houses repossessed, and also, why would you want to do that? So for me, it was about that. Don't work in sectors you don't want to work with. And if a client is a real buffoon, then have pride, walk away. I've had one where I've just had to walk away, where it was the last one I had left that I didn't enjoy. It was a big one. It was 5 days a month, but I just didn't enjoy the work. It was great in that I was learning loads, absolutely learning loads, because I was head of SEO for them, but I didn't enjoy it enough. I wasn't passionate again about it, and it was getting me down a little bit. So I was quite glad when it ended. Really, it sort of ended mutually. I think they were fed up with me as well. But yeah, it was good. It was a good decision. Next question. Now this is an easy one, really, which is buy good kit. Don't skimp. Buy good kit. You'll never regret buying good kit. So this microphone. Buy good kit. Got a brand new MacBook Air. That's only a Samsung monitor because that's just recording off that. Decent iMac. Very, very good valve amplifier. It's just don't skimp on kit, because you can offset it against your tax. Good printer. You can offset it against your tax anyway, and it just makes life easier. If you're working on your own, you don't want to be having kit that's breaking down all the time. So a new laptop costs you maybe, I don't know, if you buy a really specky one, say £1,200, $1,200. That's nothing over 2 years worth of work. It's worth, then you've got brand new kit that's going to be flawless for the next 2 years. It's a much better decision. And I've always hated working with poor kit, so I've just bought good stuff. I think it's a very good decision, I really do. Next piece of advice: when I set up on my own, I did this job for a client, and it was to write a website from scratch. Literally, they gave me a load of stuff and said, right, we want that into a website. These are all the categories. And it was in the food ingredients sector, which I didn't know much about. But it went really well. I sat down and did it over a couple of weekends, and I really wrote, and it probably took me about 2 or 3 days solid to do it. And I sent it to them and said, right, there's the first draft. I budgeted 5 days, said it was going to take me a couple of days to sort of then expecting it to come back for a couple of days. Said, yeah, that's fine, perfect, thank you. Here's a check. They sent me a check. I thought, right, this is good. So I then went out and I bought myself a very nice valve amplifier, which is here, so I can listen to my music very loud. And in there, I bought a very nice coffee machine. I like my coffee. This is a little coffee flask thing, which I just drink all day. And it keeps my coffee nice and warm. And I just love it. I absolutely love it. It was just a really good. It's about, I think, making yourself feel like you deserve something as well. So it was pretty much most of my first check went on those 2 pieces of kit, which on reflection was a crazy decision. But now 5 years on, I'm still using them every day. It was a really good decision because I've been able to listen to great music and I've been able to have lovely coffee. Couple of last pieces. So for me, it's making sure you do something positive every day. When I was running a brand consultancy, I used to always make sure that at the end of the day I'd actually earned my money. I'd actually done something that would really earn my money. The one danger about being at home on your own is you can sit there and mess about a bit, get distracted and not really get on with your work. So I think I found that making sure I have a list. If I have a list, I'm ticking stuff off. I do work with lists, but ticking things off, I'm getting through them, I'm actually achieving stuff. If I can see something else I need to do in the future, I add it to the bottom of the list, and I really try and stick to that list in order. So there is stuff being done every day. And actually, if a client has gone quiet, whilst I said I haven't written any letters, I have made sure I've kept in touch. So it could be a text, or it could be a phone call, it could be an email, just to check everything's okay, and have a quick scan around their sites, check everything's okay, quick scan across their social media sites. If you pick anything up, then it's worth dropping them a line. They really love it when you drop them something out of the blue, really, where you picked up something that's a bit of a warning. And then the good thing is, if you're the expert, you go in and get to correct it all as well. So it's a useful thing. And then my final piece of advice, it's worked for me anyway, which is get up and start early. So I tend to start very early, and I get all my best work done first thing in the morning. So for me, that time between 6 and 9 o'clock, you get loads done. You get even if you're doing it in your pajamas, you get loads done. I tend to get up, do that, then quite often have my breakfast and get ready after that. But in those 3 hours, you can do a day's work. It doesn't mean you can take it easy for the rest of the day, but it does mean you're in control, and you can then get a load of stuff done. Whereas before, I have done it before when I've been completely overworked. I've done 6 till 9 o'clock for one client, and then I've started at 9. Quickly had a cup of tea, and then started at 9 o'clock working for another client. So I'm almost doing like a day and a half's work in a day. So if you get super busy, you take on too much work, then I've always found that more effective than for me putting the hours in at the end of the day. But that's personal choice, I guess. So yeah, that's my piece of advice for Freelancer. And the other piece of advice, give it a go, because you're not going to do anything if you keep sitting in your job and you're bored. Give it a go, because what could possibly go wrong? So we will see you on some of the lessons, and thank you for listening if you have, and good luck. Cheers.